All right, so welcome to lab number 6 of AZ-800. And here we're looking at virtual machines on Azure. So I've already opened up the portal and logged in. We can quickly go and take a look at Defender. Or Defender for Cloud, I should say. Which has a lot of different functionalities and might take a while to get to understand how exactly it works. So in my lab environment, the subscription is already has already Defender for Cloud activated, so I can't show you how that will work. But we could enable different kinds of workload protection plans over here, and we will be seeing the just-in-time protection just a little bit later in this lab. But yeah, you could go down to management and then environment, and then basically this gives you a list of all of your subscriptions, and then you can make sure that you add subscriptions or other environments to be protected. But yeah, that's that. So onwards to virtual machine creation. And this is a neat feature in Portal. So when we create a machine, let me just need to be careful that I use the correct sizes and everything so that the lab environment allows me to do this. So we want to have a resource group. With that name, and then we're going to have a virtual machine with this name. We're happy with East US. We don't really need any availability options. And for the image, we're asked to use the 2022 Azure Edition Gen 2 image. Standard GSV3 should be the size, correct? Then the username and the password. Twice. We're not going to need any inbound ports. And then for disks, we wanted to use the cheap disk for our use case. Networking, we're going to create a virtual network here for our purposes. Let's just set it up as in the instructions. $1060.00, and then we have a subnet that has the first 8 bits of that. I think that's okay. We don't need a public IP. We don't need a network security group at the moment. And no load balancer. Yeah, that's all right. This is okay. Monitoring this boot diagnostics with a storage account is now nowadays it's on. It used to be off, and so on. So we can go to review and create. And now we don't create the machine here. Rather, we use the generated template. So whenever we do anything here in the console, when we set up these configurations, what happens in the background is that an ARM template gets generated, and that's the thing that then actually is being used for deployment, right? So we're not really talking directly here to the Azure VM service, but rather we are filling out the template, and then ARM is going to take that template and then talk to the relevant services. So this is the link to download this template. And one use case for this is that maybe we want to configure something that this wizard doesn't allow us, right? So I'm just going to download it to the lab machine. And then open it, extract everything. Cool. So if you've never looked at one of these before, there are two files. There is a parameter file. Let's see if we can choose a notepad for this. That includes the actual contents of the parameters that we set up in the wizard. You can see pretty much everything that we set up. And then there's the actual template that defines the resources that we are creating. So this template uses the parameters from the previous, from the parameters JSON. So you can see it starts off here. So we create a network interface, it has certain properties, and we create a virtual network. And create a virtual machine in that, and so on. So one way to work with these templates is, of course, to kind of replicate resources, right? So if you want to do multiple virtual machines, then instead of having to go through that process multiple times, you could just use the same template and then change the parameters for that. Another thing that we can use this for is for the case when the wizard doesn't support something, and that's what we're doing here. So we're adding an extension to our virtual machine, and it's going to just be the the code is in GitHub in the instructions, and the extension we're installing is the custom script extension, and then we're going to make it write hello world or something. And then we're done. Okay, so now we can save this template. We have edited it. We could have also edited it here in place. That's also a possibility. But then we can use a custom template here. No, custom. There we go. So the previous page here was the template generation from the virtual machine wizard. This is the generic ARM deployment. So we can create a template here. We can upload our, where is it? Downloads template. Our template. So you can see this is the one that has the extension in place. Good. Save that. And then we can edit the parameters and upload the parameters JSON for that. Good. So this should all populate now fairly nicely. So the resource group, need to select, I guess. Everything else seems to be populated as we did. The password we need to set up separately. Right. Then we review and create. It checks the environment, and then we create. Okay, so that is done. So now if we go over to VMs, or actually we could just go to the resource group. And here you can see our VM. And then under settings, extensions, we can see that the custom script extension is indeed a part of the virtual machine. Another thing to consider is that this resource group, if we can go back there. Yeah. So the resource group page here, it also has a settings part. And there we can see deployments. And here we can see the template that has been used for a particular deployment. So that's a fairly easy way then to go and download that again, if needed. So next, let's secure our server. So let's create a network security group. I think NSG works here. We want to create one. I'm going to name it NSG1. I'm going to put it in the same region. And then create. Create once more. Yay, that's done. So we can go to the network security group. And then we can set up inbound security rules. You can see the default rules down here. And we want any traffic that is of type HTTP. Where are you? The first one. That means port 80. We should allow TCP port 80. Should allow, and let's set this priority to be something like 300. And let's give it a nice name. That's it. All right, so then we're going to need a public IP address. Let's create that one. Yeah, East, name it cunningly. Standard school. Yeah, rest doesn't really matter. Just create. All right, so then let's go and take a look at our VM. So now we got network settings up here. We take the first network card, the only one. And we pick the network security group, the one that we had. remember press save. And then under IP configurations, we have to go to ipconfig 1 and then add the public IP address. We pick the existing one that we just created. So now the scriptlet that we previously ran using the custom script extension wrote a file into the IIS document root. So now we should be able to see that file when we go to the IP address. This needs to be HTTP now, right? And there we go, hello world. That's great. So this seems to be working. Note that we only opened up HTTP. So if I would try to a remote desktop connection to this IP address. Oops, let's take the HTTP off this time. And that should not work. All right, let's just cancel that. Consider that as demoed. Now, if we go back to our virtual machine, if we go under settings and configuration, here we have the place where we can set up just-in-time configuration. And for that, we need to make sure that we have our Defender for Cloud all running. So it brings you directly here, and to your subscription down here. And then you can just need to click on it. And then enable all plans. And we don't really care about this stuff. You should have servers and workloads and everything in here. So now if we go back to Defender, to save. Okay, interesting. So okay, here we go. This is our server over here that is currently being protected, and we currently don't have any just-in-time VMs here. It's actually probably showing us, it's not showing here at all at the moment. Okay, but now if we go back to our VM0, we can enable just-in-time right here. Perfect. So now that is enabled. What that means is that if we want to connect to the machine, now we can use, oops, and you see that there is this request jet and get access part. So let's click on that. So now just-in-time opens up the RDP port for us. Of course, first checking that we as a user have permissions to do this. Now it's open, so now we can download the RDP file and then open it with remote desktop. And now the connection is actually working. Just make sure that we get through all the way. Yes. So it worked. Thank you a lot for listening to me for this short demo. If you followed along, remember to delete your resource group over in Azure. That way you're deleting all of the services. As well as if you took the Cloud Defender trial, then remember it starts to cost after 30 days. So consider deprovisioning that one as well. Anyway, thanks for being here and seeing you in your next lab. Till then.